everyone, welcome once again to S.H.I.E.L.D. Discussions. I am Captain Logan.
And I'm TheRealManos.
And today we're talking about the third episode of the second season of S.H.I.E.L.D., Making Friends and Influencing People, which as properly does not actually help you learn how to do that.
No, this is not an instructional episode.
It's not an instructional episode. Before we get into things,
you want to suffocate people you don't like.
Before we get into questions and comments from last episode, or from last week's episode, I just have to mention that I am in love with that episode title. I thought that was a really good pick. That's such a Whedon kind of episode title. You go back to like Buffy and Angel episodes, and like that's a wonderfly ironic kind of title. I thought that was awesome. Anyway,
that's a good point. A lot of these episode titles have been kind of just like just simple words.
I liked last week's too, and we didn't even talk about it. Heavy as the Head was the one from last week, which I should mention now because I meant to talk about that last week. Because I guess we spent too much time talking about things we didn't like, and we didn't talk enough about the stuff we did, and there were things I liked. And by the way, let me say that conversation went in some weird places, and I did not dislike it as much as it looked like I did. I was concerned about the direction things were going, but we'll talk about that. People complained about it, and rightly so. Anyway, one of the things I liked about last week that I did not mention was the title, Heavy as the Head. It was somewhat of a double entendre because, of course, obviously, and I love those titles where we don't have to say the entire phrase because you know what it is. Everybody knows what that means. Heavy as the head that wears the crown, and it's about leadership, and it's about the difficulties that Coulson is having, but in trying to be the new director of S.H.I.E.L.D. But it's also about people with brain issues. So, like, their head is almost literally heavy. Like, there's too much in there. They're broken. They're not functioning correctly. I thought that was a really cool double entendre kind of title. Anyway, let's get into questions and comments from last week from our audience, shall we? Beginning with Spartanite67. He says, I really like this episode. This is from last week, and where the show seems to be going. I think a big part of that is because I didn't care about Lawless being killed off. I also liked Fitz's relationship he was building with Flannel Shirt Man. And I mostly picked this this question because I'd like to start calling that guy Flannel Shirt Man because I can never remember his name. But, yes, I agree. I was also liking that, and that relationship continues on to this episode. That guy, really patient, that guy, trying to help Fitz, like keep it together and remember things and help him fill in the blanks and stuff. And I like that he's, like, trying to pal around with him and make him feel like he's part of the group, and you know, the trying to play video games thing with him and all that from this episode. I thought it was really good. In fact, suddenly it seems like he's got more to do with than Triplet does. Yeah. And that's kind of interesting. So, yes, I agree, and I can totally see what you're saying about Lucy Lawless. It's just they hyped that so much, and she's an actress I like, and anyway, so, yes, I understand why other people don't have that.
Like weeks going, hey, this actress you like, she's in the show.
Yeah.
Oh, she's dead in 2 seconds. All right.
Simba 317, remember who you are. Maybe Stark. Maybe they have Maria Hill convincing him to push a little money to the legit S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. Maybe they're stealing/siphoning funds from legitimately bad people from their secret stashes in Switch/Cayman banks. Good suggestion, good possibility. I just need them at some point to tell us this, because I don't think there's been any confirmation whatsoever in the show that they're getting any money from Stark. We know that, I don't think, unless I'm missing something from when Maria Hill showed up, because Maria Hill showed up last year, jumping off of the whole thing that we had at the very, very end of, spoiler alert, Winter Soldier, where we know that she's, you know, leaving S.H.I.E.L.D., she goes to work with Stark. I could see that relationship giving Coulson funds, but as I said, I felt like Coulson was saying one thing and I was seeing something else. When he's acting like they're on such dire straits they can't even afford jet fuel, but then they seem to be paying their people decent salaries. I just could not figure out how those two things went together.
I still suspect they have some secret funds that were stashed. A company like S.H.I.E.L.D. would probably do something like that. But at this point, really, any theory is just as legitimate as any other one right now.
Yeah, but don't you feel like they're just being kind of inconsistent with what they're telling us versus what we're seeing? That's just, I don't know, that's how I feel about it.
I think they need to tell us soon.
Yeah.
Frankly, I mean, it's just a line is all we need.
Well, I guess, but I still don't understand how you're paying people, but you can't get. Maybe it's that you can't get the fuel. You know what I mean? Like that might be less about money or more. It's hard to find fuel. Yeah, and without because it's like you can't just go buy jet fuel. You know what I mean? And remember, they're rogues. They're like another. I didn't write this down, but another commenter was like, "Oh, they're not just a U.S. agency. They're funded by the United Nations." But I'm like, not anymore.
Yeah, I mean, they're cut off.
They're cut off. Yeah.
I mean, they're probably budgeting as tightly as they can. I mean, look, man, I live paycheck to paycheck, and my car is like usually close to empty like all the time because like, well, I can put $10 in it now, and I rarely fill her up. That's probably what they're doing with these super jets.
But you're not paying scientists!
Well, true. Not that I know of. But, I do have my bills to pay. I do have that.
Yeah.
That I always have to pay. I got to pay my rent. I got to pay my car payment every month. And, filling my tanks up in my car. My tanks. Filling my tank up in my car. All the way, all the time. That's an optional.
Yeah, it
thing.
seems like your first. It seems like your first problem, Manos, is that you have multiple gas tanks.
It's a huge accent. It's like big.
Shafel-Kashim, yeah. You don't need 3 nacelles on a starship. Shafel-Kashim, hey Cap, I have a prediction that Skye is actually an Inhuman, and that maybe the Obelisk/084 is what might activate her powers like the Terrigen Mist. I say this because there have been rumblings about an Inhumans movie, so maybe they're teasing that. Fair, I could see that. Plus, the writings that Coulson has been doing are clearly alien in nature, and that blue alien is most definitely a Kree who play a major part in the Inhumans storyline, and that's the thing I didn't really know, because I haven't been keeping up with the whole Inhumanity thing, and I don't know a lot about the Inhumans prior to what has been recently being done with them, so...
Yeah, I don't know about the Inhumans either. I know... I have a vague collection of knowledge of the Inhumans. I know they are pushing the Inhumans as far as bringing them really deeper into the fold, and I have kind of noticed in the Marvel machine... Guardians of the Galaxy kind of showed this to me. Like, they're really pushing, Guardians and really kind of setting them up more as a substantial piece of the Marvel Universe, therefore legitimizing and building, film franchise. And that's exactly what they did very successfully this year. I assume that's what they're doing with Inhumans. They're doing some stuff with the Kree, because I know they're talking about Captain Marvel or Miss Marvel, Carol Danvers. I know that's on their plate. Yeah. Well, they haven't made any announcements.
It makes a lot of sense. Well, and the other thing too is, I think that it's all but confirmed, or maybe even confirmed, that that Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver are Inhumans because they can't be mutants. So, like, we're already going to have Inhumans probably in the next Avengers film. So, like, that's already happening. And that's how they're getting around the whole mutant thing. So that makes a lot of sense. I could totally see them setting that up in exactly the same way they were setting things up for Winter Soldier, and then getting us into all this stuff with Hydra, because we do have we do have the Avengers sequel coming right at the tail end of the season. It's going to be just like Winter Soldier, where it comes. I don't remember if that movie is slated for May or a little bit later, but we're gonna get that like right at the end, or right in the last couple months of the show. So I'd be very surprised if it wasn't some kind of a tie-in. Evan Greiner, we seem to have a theme of using Hulk antagonists this season so far with Talbot and Absorbing Man. I'd love to see this continue, as Hulk is one of my favorite Marvel characters, and I will tack on to that. I hope that if they continue using Hulk villains, that we will at some point, at least one time, get to see Bruce Banner in the show.
Yes. And I know he wants to play that character again. I know he loves playing him. Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously he gets to keep playing him because he's in Avengers. He's in Age of Ultron. But and I guess there's been a little bit more talk about possibly a Hulk movie. But as I keep saying, I feel like he is one of the couple actors that would seem to be the easiest
to get from those films. I don't mean to say that he's not famous, but if they could get Sam Jackson to do it, it seems like he wouldn't be that hard to get. Review King MB, don't get me wrong, I really like the Triplet character. I alluded to this a minute ago as well, but don't you think they haven't really done a lot with him, or he's just not characterized that well? The actor is great and entertaining, so he's not the issue, but I also don't feel like I know the character all that well. I will agree with that and say that I think that a lot of why I'm liking him so much is less to do with what they're doing with him in the script, and just that he's so charismatic. And the one kind of fun character thing he got with the whole his grandfather was a Howling Commando thing was really super cool, and I guess I keep latching on to that. You're right, and the thing I'm wondering about with it is I keep, and I couldn't articulate this until you said this, Review King, but the thing is, it seems like ever since he's come on board, I've kind of been, I guess, waiting for him to die or to get shoved off someplace, because he doesn't feel like he's supposed to stay. He doesn't feel like a staple yet. He feels like a recurring character that has been in every episode but isn't quite main cast yet, and I'm kind of waiting for him to become main cast. And the fact that they brought in the Flannel Shirt Guy, that's what I'm going to call him now, Flannel Shirt, the fact that they brought Flannel Shirt Guy in on top of him and are actually giving him stuff to do is really making me wonder if they're doing one of two things. Either Triplet isn't going to stay around, or they just want to grow this cast out more and more and let people kind of come in and out, so that as we build S.H.I.E.L.D. back into a larger organization, and probably eventually a global organization again, we know a lot of the agents. These are people that are possibly being introduced, so that if the show lasts and we get into like a 5th, 6th, 7th season, we can every time we bring in a random agent, oh, I've seen that guy before. We have so could we introduce like 40 or 50 S.H.I.E.L.D. agents this way, and then make that the way that we kind of grow this organization? I wonder if that's not what they're doing.
That would be my hope, actually. I think it might be a matter of fact of he just hasn't been given anything interesting to do so far this season. It's only been 3 episodes, granted.
Yeah, yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, everything interesting about Triplet was done in the first season, where, he's a little mysterious at first, and then we learn that, he was betrayed too. We learn his background with his family, his grandfather being a Howling Commando, and, his dicey relationship with Coulson at first, and then becoming part of the team. Yeah, all the real cool, interesting stuff has been done with him season 1. And he hasn't really been given anything really meaty to do yet.
Couple others, Mick2639, guys, relax, not every episode will be great all the time, and no need to worry about the show being canceled after this season. Well, I will say that, and I didn't write this one down, another person said you have to look at the first 2 episodes as a 2-parter, and I did, and that's part of the reason I was so disappointed with the last episode, is that I felt like the writing was kind of mediocre in comparison to the first episode. They didn't feel like the same thing, and that was weird to me. But the fact that I didn't think it was up to snuff from the first episode is not why I was worried that the show might not last. I thought the first episode was absolutely fantastic, and, the first episode of the season, and if that wasn't enough to get people to stay, and it had such bad ratings the second week, I just feel like that's cause for concern.
It is. We'll see.
Yeah, that's it. We'll see.
It's the kind of thing that you have to see week by week, and it has to be a trend, either a climbing trend or a declining trend.
A lot of people
we'll see what's going on with the show this season.
Yeah, a lot of people that I tend to agree with, that are friends of mine that I talk to about this kind of stuff, really don't like this show. And I have been a big proponent from it from the beginning, even when it was kind of slow, because I thought a lot of the ideas were good, even if the characterizations were a little bit less exciting than people, and less involved than I wanted them and than other people did. The thing is, last year, and everybody compared it to Arrow because that was the other comic book show. Last year we had that, we had this, and we had Arrow, and Arrow was like, at least for the first half of the season, really pushing envelopes and doing stuff. This year, so much more competition. And I just feel like you have to look at the other comic book shows, because I feel like that is kind of going to become a genre just like it has with movies. Certainly, there are going to be people that will look at it more like Gotham's a cop show, this is a spy show, etc., etc. But I do think that as we get more of these kinds of things, where we have superpowered things, we have things derived from comic books, this is connected to another major. This is connected to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I feel like it's got to do more stuff to really catch people's attention, or it's going to lose more viewership to things like Flash and Arrow, and also it airs the same night as Flash now, and I think that could be a kiss of death for it if it's not really careful. I don't think they air at exactly the same time, but I'm just saying that, like, it's got a lot of competition, and yeah, so I don't know. That was my cause for concern. I'm not saying it's not good enough to watch. I'm saying that I don't know that it's going to keep that if that first episode couldn't keep people's attention, I don't know what they can do.
Well, I think my cause for concern is the television landscape with comic book films or comic book TV shows, excuse me, has changed in like a very quick 2 years.
Yes.
When they were developing Agents of Shield, it was unique in the fact that it was connected to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This was your weekly view. Even sometimes through the back door, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so you get to see how things play out on a more regular basis instead of each of these spectacular big films.
And widening out that landscape.
Yeah, and now we have like Arrow and Flash, and we have like Batman without Batman and Hellblazer. We got like iZombie and Supergirl on the way.
Yeah.
Those shows actually have their characters in them week to week. It's like DC has.
That's a good point. Right? Yeah.
It's kind of like DC Warner Brothers has figured out. Okay, we've lost the battle at the box office. We've lost, or at the very least, we're far behind. We can get on TV quicker. There's an open market here on TV, and it seems like that's what they're doing. Well, and Marvel and DC have always been sort of this Coke and Pepsi, Democratic, Republican kind of system, where one does something, the other one does the other thing. It's a yin and a yang.
Oh yeah,
and I think that's what we're seeing.
I completely see why. For a minute, I was like, well, yeah, but I can drink both Coke and Pepsi. It's hard to be both a Democrat and a Republican.
I know.
But then you said that, and I was like, oh, that's what he means by that. Okay, yeah. It's like, no, I can like Star Trek and Star Wars, guys. Really, seriously, it's okay. And then bumbling idiot. Do you think that SWORD will ever be in the show, like as an offshoot of SHIELD or some new government agency, maybe created by Hill and Stark? Yes, I think that's very likely. I mean that's very likely, especially as we continue to expand SHIELD. Because right now we got this grassroots thing going on. I think again, if the show lasts, I think 3 seasons from now, it's gonna maybe be back to something much more global.
I think so. I think we're going to be really broken down, and the team is going to be on the run like the A-Team for this season. And depending on what happens in the next Avengers, I mean, I assume SHIELD will probably get reset, would be my assumption. But, who knows? If that's possible, then SHIELD may be, a better, leaner, meaner kind of world organization at that point.
Let me ask you this question. Talbot wasn't in this episode, but Talbot is going to continue as set up last week, chasing Coulson, and right now is calling him a vigilante. And I'm seeing some pretty obvious kind of parallels between Lance. I know you don't watch the show, but like from Lance and Arrow in that show, where Lance at first was chasing him, and then a couple seasons later he's basically his, or a season later he's basically his Gordon. I wonder if that's not going to happen with this. I wonder if Talbot doesn't ultimately end up being the big proponent to get SHIELD back on the world stage again, where like right now they're opposites, and he's trying to shut them down because he thinks they're Hydra, and eventually Coulson will turn him around, and he'll be the reason that they're kind of reinstated. That's where I think it's going.
We'll see. He could also be, if I could use another comic book TV series, he could be this show's Jack McGee from the Hulk TV show.
Oh, sure.
Where he was constantly chasing him, which.
But that was a formula. That was a format. They could never change. It just kept going, and we don't have that here. Yeah. It's not a Dr. Claw kind of thing. And that was
kind of a ripoff of The Fugitive, where The Fugitive had, I forgot the name of that character.
Well, an A-Team had
Millard
an
or
A-Team
something.
had one general that was always chasing them, and then at the end of the episode got like Jello on his head or something. Like they had I hate manure. They had that.
Yeah. Darn you, A-Team!
Finally, I know we're doing a lot of questions this time, but there were many, and I wanted to mention a few. Fivekeeper Sevenful, the actor who played Stearns, who of course is the leader in Incredible Hulk, is the Mole Man in the Fantastic Four reboot, which I didn't know. That's another perfect casting for that guy. Wow. I know people are really down on the FF reboot, but I'm excited to see that. That makes a lot of sense. And he says, so it's unlikely he'll ever become the leader in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I mean, never say never. If the FF movie isn't successful, and a lot of people really think it's going to fail, even though we don't really know what it's going to be yet, I think it's still possible he could come back as the leader, especially if they don't have major plans for him yet. But you're right. If he's doing one villain over at Fox, it's kind of unlikely that he gets pulled over here. But who knows?
So they were able to recast the lead of Hulk. I'm sure they could recast the leader. Especially when we didn't see him even.
Well, no, that's true,
yet.
but his comment was just he doubts that Stearns will be the leader. I'm not saying that the leader won't show up. I'm just saying that actor probably won't become that character. I still hope he does. It's just last week we made a big deal out of we hope it's that actor. Let's go on now to making friends and influencing people. We'll try to do a bit of a briefer general overview since we spent so much time on the questions. Manos, I thought this was a big step up. I thought this episode was absolutely solid, and the first big thing I want to throw out there is I wish there was some way we could have organized this differently. That's my big thing is I wish there had been some way that some of the things that we got in this episode could have been in the second episode, because I feel like there would have been a kind of a more natural progression, and I feel like there was a little bit of stalling going on last week. Like all the Fit stuff in this worked because it was real character stuff and he seemed really necessary to the story, partly because they brought in They brought in Donnie Gill again, and he was involved in that whole thing, so he had information. We needed him. That made a lot, and this needed to be him and Simmons' story. Kind of interesting that they are both apart the whole episode, but it's still a Fitz-Simmons story. And I started really questioning last week the whole keeping him around thing. I still think he's too much of a liability. It's still hard for me to buy that they're keeping him around, but I just mean that for the sake of the show, I much more appreciate his presence right now after this episode. I also much more appreciate Ward's presence after this episode. And I kind of wish we couldn't have... I just felt like there wasn't enough material for an episode last week, and I wish that we could have maybe somehow combined what happened in that episode with the first episode, and then opened episode 2 with Simmons is working for Hydra.
That's actually a good point. Now, we didn't talk about that, but that's actually a wonderful point. Yeah, maybe it would have been a better, 1 hour episode. They would have had more meat instead of, or at least a 90-minute episode.
Yeah, I don't know how you do that, but yeah.
Have enough to go for 2 hours.
Yeah, that's I don't know. Anyway, that's all I'm saying. But it was but I was like so much more with it this episode. The ideas really excited me, and I don't know. Hydra was sort of present last episode. We had to bring back in the girl with the flower dress and all of that stuff, and it seemed like it was setting up all of the big plotty stuff for the season. It seemed like artifact, and this episode we get back to the worldview of Hydra and the difference between it and S.H.I.E.L.D. and freedom versus safety and versus order, and all of that stuff, all the things that I was really hoping that the show would really mine in making Hydra a big thing last season. Honestly, I didn't really expect. One of the things that excited me about the first episode was that I wasn't sure Hydra would be the big player this season, and when they brought in Whitehall and we found out that he was a Nazi from the 40s that is in present day, I got really excited, and he just tore it up this episode, man. All that brainwashing stuff was really exciting. It's really chilling. I love that Hydra is their philosophy is very much the Borg. They assimilate people. They don't see people as means unto themselves. They see every person as not just like scrap metal that they could bring in and utilize, but even once they're there, once they're part of them, they see them also still as scrap metal. They like you know, you can recycle them, you can throw them away. They're expendable. And I don't know, the whole brainwashing business I thought was disturbing, and I really liked it.
Yeah, I really like the fact that we got to see all sorts of different methods of how they bring in people. You know, they either pay people or find people of like minds, or they really need somebody, they'll brainwash them. Whatever we need to get the job done to get these people working with us. And I really liked the brainwashing scene was really chilling. And then you cut to Simmons, where we get to see Simmons, and we get to see her start her day with that cheerful song, and it's almost like an internet commercial. And you know, she walks in there, you know, her new job, and it's Hydra. They have a big Hydra logo,
which is
on their wall.
Preposterous, by the way. I kept going, this needs to be a front company. You can't have people going around with Hydra lapel pins. Why are they? It's awesome. It's so comic book. It's so ridiculous. I love it. And yet, I have to point out that it doesn't work. It's really stupid. And yet, I love it. I mean, it's awesome. So, like, I'll take it. It's awesome. But it's like you're trying to stay underground. You were part of S.H.I.E.L.D. for 50-something years, and now you're like, oh, we're all on our own now. We'll wear Hydra pins. And
you got like big logos everywhere. I mean, what if the UPS guy has to go out there?
Well, they probably, you know what, that's the beauty of it, though, because the whole episode, I kept thinking, okay, now wait a minute, how, like Hydra got found out in Winter Soldier, how are they still this structured? We get this big contrast between where they're at and where S.H.I.E.L.D. is at now, which, by the way, helped to make S.H.I.E.L.D. feel worse off than I felt like they were last episode. That helped a lot. The contrast comparing them helped a lot. And so I'm going the whole episode thinking, I don't see how they're still in this good a shape. And then I was reminded from a lot of things the episode did, actually. I was kind of reminded that, oh yeah, in Winter Soldier, we're told that, and shown a little bit, that they infiltrated not just S.H.I.E.L.D. I mean, like they had senators on the payroll. You know what I mean? So obviously their tentacles are still spreading in plenty of different places. So when you said UPS guy, I'm like, no, they probably have a Hydra UPS guy. Like,
you know,
he delivers your package, and he's like, please sign this, Hail Hydra.
You're right about that being a total comic book thing. There is this Miss Marvel issue where Carol Danvers discovers that this department store is a front for MODOK's operations, and you know, he's got this huge base in the middle of New York City under this department store, and you know, the manager of the store, you know, knows about it, and it's like literally right there. I mean, I don't know, if you go in the back room to pick up, you know, extra socks, like, oh crap, it's MODOK.
What it reminds me of is like 80s cartoon branding, when a lot of cartoon shows were mostly just toy commercials, so that everything in the show, whether it makes any sense or not, has to be branded and labeled because that's what the toys look like, and they want to remind you of all these logos. So like, you look at Ninja Turtles, and like the Foot Clan are supposed to be ninjas, but then they have their logo on the Technodrome has a foot on the front of it, and like I was reminded of that in this. Anyway, I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, and let's talk Cobra, okay?
Yeah, yeah, good call.
So
Transformers had labels on everything.
Yeah, and also you get to see the middle management. You get to see like Simmons' manager, essentially, and I like that line of his about, like, you know, hey, you know, the higher you go up in this company, the scary it is. It's like, yeah.
I'm really digging, and of course they were doing this already last year, and they're furthering it now that we've separated them. The parallels between S.H.I.E.L.D. and Hydra. Hydra talks about S.H.I.E.L.D. like it's the total opposite of them, and yet they didn't used to be. And we're seeing Coulson, like I keep saying, using more and more of Fury's methods, and I feel like his finally learning about how he came back to life and that he was the leader of the project that made that happen and all of that sort of thing made him appreciate why the director has to keep secrets. And so now he's doing more of that. And so like the methods that each of them are both using, but with kind of a different like rhetoric. Like they're furthering that. I really like that. So like on the one end, you've got S.H.I.E.L.D., which Whitehall in this is like oh, they believe in freedom, but like the problem with S.H.I.E.L.D. last year and then into Winter Soldier was that they were like starting to curb everybody's freedoms with the rhetoric of we're doing this to preserve freedom, and yet we're going to point guns at everyone, and like those two things are not don't work. Don't work together. You can't have that. You can't say that freedom at any cost is an oxymoron, because if the cost of freedom is freedom, then you don't have freedom. Like just by definition, you can't have that. And so he says that with S.H.I.E.L.D. now, but because S.H.I.E.L.D. used to have Hydra in it and influenced them, we've got this kind of interesting thing going on where one of the big things that influenced how Coulson thinks and how the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents think in general is Hydra rhetoric, but they didn't know it. And I think that's really, really interesting. And I'm kind of excited to see them continue to kind of compare them in the ways that they're both similar, especially because the reasons that people work for each organization, like I really like seeing just regular people working for Hydra. I hope they do a lot more of that and that they explore more of that, because just like with S.H.I.E.L.D., not everybody works there because they're obsessed with the cause. Garrett was like that. I like that our big bad guy last season was Hydra but didn't care about the cause. He didn't care about Hydra. They were just a means to an end for him. And so in this, you've got other people like Simmons who, like you said earlier, what are the reasons that they're there? Some of them really do believe in the cause. Most of them, they're there because it allows them to do what they want to do, and they don't care what the ultimate implications of all that are. And so I really like it when Simmons says, and of course this isn't really true, but she says this because she's being an undercover agent, when she says, I'm here because of science, and as long as I get to do my science, I don't care what happens. That's terrifying. That's dangerous. And a lot of people were in S.H.I.E.L.D. for the same kinds of reasons. So yeah, anyway, lot more to mine in this one, I think.
I agree. There's a lot of ambiguity, and that we're now discovering it when we get to know both sides.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But all right, and of course we got freezing guy. What's his name? Wills or Gill?
Gill. Yeah. He's Donnie Gill. Donnie Darko Gill.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And
that guy.
That man, his sequences. I thought his freezing effects were really good, actually.
Yeah, they were really good. He's one of those. I felt this way about him somewhat the first time we saw him, and I felt this way about some of the kind of superpowered, bring him in and they're gone kind of characters. That like he's not badly played or anything, and he's not like wholly unsympathetic or unlikable or anything, but he's mostly serviceable for the story, right? Like for the most part, that's a character that's there to emphasize how Hydra is treating superpowered people, and that they're, like with everything else, they're bringing them in as a means to an end. So I don't know. Every time he was on screen, I kept kind of thinking, okay, now we're in the plotting part of the episode.
Yeah. Well, I think we're going to see, the more of these guys we're going to see, what I hope is we'll see a variety of the way they're used. Some will be used as allegories and plot devices, and some will get into their characters. Kind of depending what the writers want to do, for the main storyline of the season and the particular episodes as well. Because, let's face it, not all these guys can have, episodes.
Well, and I'm hoping that eventually one or two of them become S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. I don't want Skye to be the only supposedly we don't even know what she can do yet, but I mean, I don't want her to be the only superpowered, agent. And so far there's been a pattern, right, of these people get used by S.H.I.E.L.D. and now Hydra. And I don't know, it'll be interesting when Coulson gets a hold of another one to see if he can manage to not accidentally treat them the way that S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of messed up. What's his name last year? Deathlock.
Deathlock. Okay.
Yeah.
I sometimes. Hey, don't feel bad. Sometimes I forget what Deathlock's name is.
Well, and by the way, I love that guy, and I hope he comes back. But
yeah, no. I mean, I love the portrayal of Deathlock, but it's like okay, it's not the Metalopolis character from Adult Swim. It's a guy.
Let's talk again about Simmons for a minute. I feel like this is a very, very good example of an episode that goes where I expected it to and was satisfying anyway. She shows up, she's at Hydra. I didn't... There was a split second where I went, what? And then I went, oh no, of course, she's a double agent. And yet was totally satisfied with that. And I enjoyed the progression of getting to see her, being a terrible liar last season. Of course, even Sky's like, she's horrible, May's like, she's different than she used to be. Although I will say, I'm not sure we saw enough of the progression of that. I think there should have been, toward the end of last season, maybe one more moment of she's figured this out, or maybe they did better at that, and I'm just not remembering it right. I'm not sure, but it's been a while with some of those shows. But I thought she did a fantastic job of, like, still not being great at it, but kind of feeling it out and figuring it out. I don't feel like if she had suddenly been brilliant at subterfuge, I would have been like, no.
That would have been less believable. And I think the actress, handles the her scenes well, where you get to see that human side of her. You get to see her kind of figuring out in the moment. It's a pretty good performance, actually. This was pretty much a vehicle for her for the most part. And I haven't seen this actress. I don't think I've seen this actress before this series. Are you familiar with her work?
I think she was a nobody. A lot of the people in the show when it started hadn't been in much, and I'm pretty sure she was one of them. What I want to see happen with her, and I don't know that it will. You know what? I'm sorry. I'll save that for predictions. I'm really liking the whole she's put in the same situation that Ward was put in last season. What I'm kind of hoping is that we get to really feel out Hydra and learn about some of these people and see what happens when some of them get the reality check of these are the people you're really working for. I feel like a lot of the people that she's working with, if they could see what Whitehall's up there doing, they'd be running for the door. And it's like, ignorance is bliss. We don't want to know about that stuff. I love the idea of making Hydra agents sympathetic human beings who made a bad choice and don't understand the implications. And it makes a lot of sense because Hydra's been around forever, and a lot of these people have no idea what I'm sure a lot of those people don't even... well, I was going to say that they probably don't understand what almost happened at the end of Winter Soldier, but then I think that was made kind of public knowledge, so maybe they're all... just really in denial. And again,
it's possible. You can tell yourself, all the explanations you need to keep justifying yourself going on.
And maybe they don't mind living in a world where they're completely controlled if they're promised everything they ever wanted. I mean, I love the point you made earlier about how they're all brainwashed in different ways. I really appreciated the line when Ward said, "Not everybody is susceptible to the sort of brainwashing that Agent 33 is getting at the beginning. That they have to do they have to try other tactics. They have to appeal to people's desires and things, and that's how they get you. That's how they control you, and they don't care what you want. They'll give you anything as long as you comply."
Yes, let's talk about that for a
yes.
second. That scene between Fitz and Ward, I thought was really good. And
I
actually,
liked it too.
I've had some trouble with these characters since the season started, and that one scene I thought legitimized them both. Actually,
I love that we got both. I'm glad you said. I love that we got both of them right there because they were the two that I was like, does this show need these characters? They put them in a room together, and I was like, even if we don't need them forever, I think I like that we got the follow up of you tried to kill me, no, I tried to save you. Yeah, I'm not unhappy that I watched that scene.
Yeah, and I think we got a final answer because there are a lot of people when it was first revealed what Ward was doing, a lot of fans were going, "Oh no, he was brainwashed," and it's confirmed in this episode. Like, nope, wasn't brainwashed.
And I'm so glad they came out and said that. There's a part of me that feels like they didn't have to say that because they made such a big deal in the second half of last season that he wasn't brainwashed. But once we saw the brainwashing technology, maybe we needed to reconfirm that. Yeah, and I'm so glad they didn't cop out with that. Because again, as I said last season, the fact that he has the worldview he does, and that he is such a good master manipulator, and that but he's conflicted and complicated because he really did come to like and appreciate these characters, and you can see real affinity for Fitz in his eyes. It's really sad. I'm so glad because that's what made him interesting. You've got to have that evil side of him. I was really kind of an naysayer first episode of the season, saying I don't know if I want to see him on a path to redemption. If they do it right, if they make it take the time it would take, but don't let him be too stagnant for too long, also could work. It's a tough balancing act, but I could maybe see it now. Eventually,
Agreed.
I'm going to go back on that. I think eventually it can happen.
Agreed. I was in the same ballpark with you. It's like, you know what? Let's just put a bullet in his head and move on. But I now feel like I could watch a redemption arc for him.
If you
that scene definitely made me feel that way.
You watched Angel, yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not all of it. I did kind of pop in and out of it in the last couple of seasons. But
do you remember season 3 into 4, Wesley Wyndham-Pryce going really dark? If you can take a character like that, who's really super silly and goofy and kind of comic relief, and make me buy him going that incredibly dark and make him capable of almost anything, but I still like him, is it possible to go the other way?
It is,
and I think perhaps it is, and I think that I jumped the gun too quick saying what I said about him in the first place. I'm going to go back on that a little bit.
I'm in a wait and see mode, but I mean,
I'm just saying it's possible. Yeah,
because now I'm kind of rethinking that too. But you know what? We've seen that happen in Whedon shows.
Yeah.
We've seen that happen in Marvel Comics. I mean, good Lord. I mean, how many times has Magneto gone back and forth?
This show has ultimately been a more optimistic show than I kind of expected it to be. It got darker last season, but ultimately ended on a high note. We dismantled S.H.I.E.L.D., but other than that, I'm just saying that
low note.
I think that this show might be attempting, and I don't know how well it's going to succeed at it, but I think the show might be attempting kind of a reverse Whedon thing where things work out, but not the way you expected them. In the same way that in a lot of Whedon properties, things sort of work out, but there's these huge, awful consequences. In this show, I'm sure that there are still some consequences. The thing that happened with Fitz, it's a consequence. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying that it's a lighter show, but you still won't expect it to be like the way it is. We all right now ought to be going, God, Ward. There's no hope. And if you can take me from that, and a couple of years later get me to he's come around, I would be very impressed to be taken into that emotional place.
Yeah, I would be too.
Let's go ahead now and go on to best moment, worst moment. What was your favorite moment for the episode, Manos?
Ooh, man. I had a couple. This was a pretty good episode.
Pretty good, yeah.
I would probably have to say the Fitz and Ward scene. I thought it was really strong writing, and it did move the plot of the episode. And it was good character stuff and acting for those characters. I thought that was a really strong scene. I won't give you a second one. All right.
I'm gonna go with the kind of Simmons Mary Tyler Moore opening. God, I love that. And I should have called.
That was my second choice.
I should have called where it was going, and she walks in a Hydra, and I went, "This is cool." And like I said, I kind of pretty quick was like, "She's gonna be a double A." Now, I will say this: there is a part of me. Well, Okay, first I'll just say that was super fun, and it was really Whedon, and I really enjoyed it. I know Whedon didn't write the script, but it was very indicative of the kind of stuff that I...
It has its influence.
It's got that air about it, and I loved it. Anyway, I'm wondering if Simmons really was the best person for that job. Like with her track record of not being a good undercover agent, I kind of wonder if it wasn't a little bit early. At the same time, her qualifications made her maybe the only person. So I don't know. It must have been about her qualifications over. And because I said that at first, and then I started thinking about people, and I was like, well, who else would it be? You know, would it be flannel shirt guy? Would it like who would it be? So
I don't think. I mean, I don't think if I was Hydra, I would. And May came to my door wanting a job. I'm not sure if I trust her.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that they can't really trust anybody, and of course this whole thing, this whole show
they're
is
evil. They don't trust anybody. That's
this whole
part of the rules of being evil. You
right?
Trust no one.
But also remember that Shield, nobody trusted anybody either, and they kind of learned that from Hydra. So Coulson is going to have to continue to sort of have that mentality, again, kind of becoming the new Nick Fury. So, again, I'm wondering if we're going to see more of that as it goes along, where S.H.I.E.L.D. has too much in common with Hydra, just like it used to. But anyway, so at first I was like, oh man, why would they take a former S.H.I.E.L.D. agent? But then I'm thinking, I'm sure there have been several actual S.H.I.E.L.D. agents that maybe would turncoat, because again, the agents that weren't there about what S.H.I.E.L.D. was supposed to be about wouldn't care about what Hydra was about. You know, it's going where the wind blows. You know, it's like if you're... This is a terrible example, but it's like if your parents are divorced and you have the choice to live with either, and you enjoy living with both the same way, but one of them has a job and one of them doesn't. You go with the one that's got a job. It's kind of like that. And I guess the only way to really make that kind of allegory work would be if one of those parents was evil. But anyway, so I don't know. My favorite moment was the Mary Tyler Moore opening. Did you have a worse moment? I gotta say I didn't. There was nothing that jumped out at me as no. I really kind of enjoyed everything about this one.
Agreed. I didn't really have a moment that really kind of frustrated me at all with this one. You didn't either? I
didn't either. Manos, do you have any predictions? Predictions or hopes after watching this one?
I don't know if I have anything that different than what was discussed. I believe we're going to see more of Skye investigate her background. We're probably an episode away from that.
Yeah. I hope so. And once again, last episode made me think that we were getting a little too closer maybe to the kind of pacing we had first season, and that they might drag that out all season like they did with Coulson's Resurrection. But then having Ward tell her what he tells her this episode made me think maybe not. Maybe they're gonna pick up the pace a bit.
I think pacing, I don't know, you can play it in several different speeds. Spacing with the episode is always a good idea, to give your audience a chance to let that sit, but not sit too long.
Yeah.
But, who knows? I'm not sure what the plot of next week's episode is. It doesn't seem to be too Skye-centered.
Yeah, so, I doubt it's next episode, mostly because Ward said one day when you want to know. That puts the ball in Skye's court, and it gives the writers an out to wait as many episodes as they want to. And when he says it that way, it makes me think the writers want a reason to not have to go there next episode, because he can tell her tomorrow where that guy is. I mean, yeah, that's kind of easy plotting stuff. I don't know what they're doing next week, so, it's maybe warranted. Also, they could make that really interesting by having Skye have to kind of make the decision of if she even wants to know. We do have a little bit of an ignorance is bliss thing going on this season. We could kind of connect that up with kind of the way that some of the Hydra agents are and some of the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents used to be. Maybe there's some things you don't want to know. That's a motif that could also be building off of what Coulson learned at the end of last season. He's going through some stuff because he found out that he was the reason he was resurrected. Maybe life would be easier if he'd never known that. And so I wonder if Skye might have kind of a couple episodes of, I don't know if I want to know. Maybe I don't want to know. Maybe she will decide she doesn't. I doubt this is what happens. Maybe she'll decide she doesn't want to know, and she's forced to find out because that guy, after all, is one of the big bads this season.
Yeah.
So
that would be quite a twist.
My big prediction is whether or not Simmons will, or not a prediction, but just a thing I'm wondering about. Will Simmons come to sympathize with S.H.I.E.L.D.? I'm not with S.H.I.E.L.D., with Hydra. Will Simmons become the Ward of this season? I doubt they go there, but how interesting would it be if they built a small supporting cast on the other end in Hydra and she became really good friends with one or two people over there? And as time went on, she found it harder, even though she despises what Hydra stands for, to go against these new friends in exactly the same way that Ward did that. At what point does Simmons wind up in a similar situation where she has to betray her friends at Hydra, just like Ward did with S.H.I.E.L.D. last season?
I wonder if that's going to have anything to do with any kind of Ward redemption. That Simmons will essentially see life from his eyes and his point of view by being in the reverse situation. So if that comes to pass, she might be on his side if there's a chance of him coming back.
A lot of pairing off thematically characters last season. We're seeing it again this season. You got Coulson and Fitz going through very much the same kinds of things this season. They both feel kind of broken. You have a lot of and you have multiple broken characters this season. But we've kind of paired them off. We're pairing Simmons and a Ward off, very unlikely sort of pairing that I wouldn't have expected. And the setup is potentially really good stuff. Comic references. Blizzard's back. We had him last season, and Agent 33 is a comic book character. I don't know anything about her, and I think she is from some alternate universe and isn't even 616. I couldn't find a 616 version of her, so I think she's really obscure. What I kind of wondered, and I don't know if this is a thing that's explained in any comics or anything, because I looked at the list of S.H.I.E.L.D. agents, and every now and again you get an agent that's just agent some number and you have no idea who they are. This show has not done that is in my recollection, and I'm wondering why we have a character who's known as ambiguously Agent 33 doesn't have a normal name. How do you get that? How does that happen? Like in this universe, why do we have one agent who has a number and nothing else?
Well, maybe she's not former S.H.I.E.L.D. Maybe she's former Control from Get Smart.
Oh, yes, maybe so. It's just I don't think there's anybody else who they've given them a number and taken away their name. So, nobody in the show has ever said this is the last suit you'll ever wear. I don't know how many more of these references we can make.
I don't care. Get it.
Guest stars. No, I don't know how many more I can come up with. Guest stars.
Whitehall. If she kills Whitehall, she can say sorry about that, Chief.
Guest stars this week, we've got Dylan Minette again as Donnie Gill, also Maya Stojan, who's playing Agent 33. The only thing that she's majorly known for that I could find was Castle, which is a show that I've not watched yet. I should watch that. Vince says nice things about it. I've not taken the chance to watch it. Also makes a lot of sense because that's a Nathan Fillion show, and he's a Whedon alum, so that's probably where the connection happens.
I haven't seen it either.
And of course we got Whitehall back, and can we just maybe have that guy doing creepy things in every episode? Because
he's pretty good.
He's pretty good.
I like him a lot.
He's a good stand-in for Red Skull. If we can't have Red Skull, I like having this guy. Good stuff. That is everything for categories, so let's go on down to trivia questions. Manos, I don't think anybody got your trivia question right last time, and if you sent me it and I missed it, I apologize. This is the first year that I've been taking them separately, and I'm still working out the kinks with that. I might have missed one. Anyway, somebody got mine, but oh, I'm sorry. No, somebody did not get mine, but did get yours. Manos was the answer. Well, what was your trivia question? And then I'll ask you if this is the correct answer. Go ahead.
My trivia question was again about love.
Yeah, about love.
The person of love. And Glenn Talbot, despite the fact that he's Glenn Talbot, has found women that will sleep with him and even marry him. And he's actually been married to a famous Marvel character. Who was that character? And the answer was...
Was it Betty Ross?
Betty Ross.
Yeah, well, okay,
yes.
all right, cool. Well, good job to you, bumbling idiot. Bumbling idiot got that right. He wasn't too bumbling or idiotic this time because he knew the answer to that question. It was Betty Ross, so good job to you. And Manos, that was a great question. Well done. My question from last time was, hold on. I don't have it. I don't have it in front of me. What was my question from last time?
I don't know. I wasn't listening.
I don't remember either. Nobody got it right. So anyway, wow. I don't have it sitting in front. Where are my?
It's good.
Thank you. Where are my notes from last time? I don't have it. I don't have it sitting here in front. Oh wait. Here there. Hold on. Sorry. Wow. This is awesome. This is really good.
This enjoy me using my air blaster.
It wasn't that good. It was what is Hartley's sister's name? The answer was Jane. Nobody answered it right, so good job to no one. This week, Manos, what is your trivia question, sir?
All right, I'm going a little different here because I didn't really latch on to any real tight comic book references in this episode. I guess Blizzard's in it, but I decided to take something from the episode itself. There is that scene you and I liked a lot with Simmons getting ready for a day to go into work. There's a cool little song that's being played. It's a two-part question. What is the name of the song, and what is the band that plays the song?
Good stuff. Because well, since Manos picked a question from the episode, I picked one that's not. We flipped it this time. I picked one that's not from the episode, and my question for this time is. Who does Dylan Minnette, who plays Donnie Gill in this, who does he play in Lost? He has a role in Lost. It's one of my favorite shows, and it's the only other thing I knew him from. I can't believe this kid wasn't in Smallville. He totally looks like a crypto freak. He's basically playing a crypto freak in this. But he's not been in Smallville. He's been in Lost. Who did he play in Lost? That's the question. And thanks everybody as always for watching. Looking forward to reading your your comments as always. If you know the answer to either my or Manos' trivia question, you don't have to know them both. Send me a personal message on Geekvolution, or you can go to geekvolution.com, go to the contact page, and send me your answers there. Thanks again for watching. We sure appreciate you. Thank you, Manos. Appreciate you.
No problem. Thank you.
And we'll see you again next week. I am Captain Logan.
And I'm the real Manos.